Welcome to week 2 of the 30-day flow challenge. Last week we started with the theme of presence. This week we're really jumping into the next theme, which is about connection. And if you read the Coach's Corner, you'll notice a bit of an exercise that we're asking you to do called the Flow Calibration Wheel. Now, if you weren't a part of the onboarding session, you may have missed out and probably feeling a little confused. So the way it works, let me share my screen with you all and kind of share with you kind of what we're doing here for week 2. So part of week 2 is really about, week 1 is about being present, kind of getting a sense of what you're feeling, being really aware of how you're showing up, how the environment is impacting you. And so week 2 is about now connection with yourself, connection with others, connection with your purpose. This is a day of reflection on Memorial Day in terms of really honoring those who served. Just recently I lost my father-in-law on Friday, and it really makes you reflect and connect with the kind of life you want to lead, and it really makes you pause. And so I always take stock in showing gratitude for those who are great role models for me, and I know that I have work to do. So the way the flow calibration wheel is really kind of getting you centered into focusing on either how you want to be in general consistently and also in the different roles that we play, because sometimes the roles that we play in our lives sometimes pull at each other. And so I want to kind of walk you through the flow calibration wheel exercise. So the first part of the exercise is really just identify the different roles that you play in your life. And recognize, I'm a father, I'm a husband, I'm a student, I'm a business person, I'm a board member. So I have different roles that I play in my life. And at times I get really immersed and into flow in some and maybe not in others. And that's okay. But just know that we have to juggle some of these things. So that's the first part of the exercise. The second part of the exercise is you place the roles on the outside of this wheel. There will be a PDF on the site for you to download. So for example, parent, student, partner, athlete, mediator, facilitator, child. My parents are still living, thank goodness. So I have a number of different roles that I work to attend to on a pretty consistent basis. But juggling, as I said, can be a real challenge. After you get your roles identified, you want to kind of then identify what state are you holding? How well do you feel you're doing in those areas? So rate the level of flow that you experience in each of these roles. And you'll notice that it can ebb and flow, right? So a lot of times my work can take away from my studies, or sometimes if there's a test, they sometimes can be wrestling with each other, right? But what we're trying to do is, remember, be our best and feel our best. And ideally we can be those in multiple roles. I know for me, I have a grounding state that I want to be in, and that is to be calm and confident, right? So this is where you want to kind of start putting that calibration into play here. So one of the things that I love is something called the GPS, which is goal, purpose, and strategy. So if you think about it, and again, we're not going to be a 10 in all of these things, and I think it would be unrealistic to expect that you can. I know I can, and I don't try. I communicate to those who might be expecting me to be a 10 to let them know, here's where I am today, right? Or here's where I am this month. Because I have other roles that I'm attending to. Really focusing on my family right now is really important because of the loss of my father-in-law. So with that being said, it's the goal for me is I want to be calm and confident, right? And so the G stands for goal. And again, it's not a to-do list. It's really what do I want to be being? What do I want to be in these roles? What do I want to be in general? And for me, it's to be calm and to be confident, right? So you want to kind of identify the states you want to be in. What is it that you want to hold in that particular state? If it's a parent, maybe it's more loving or present or whatever it might be. But just kind of put some intention behind in terms of what are you striving for. I know when I used to have to travel for my job and my kids were young, it was sometimes very hard for me to be present with them, knowing I had to pack up and go again. So I really made an effort to say, get myself ready for coming home, and also when I was being home, really be at home, okay? And again, easier said than done, and if I'm not intentional about it, it makes it even harder. So the center goal is the state I wish to hold and maintain in all areas of my life. So no matter what role I play, that center one is about being calm, right? So calm and disciplined as a student. calm and intimate with my partner, calm and determined with my athleticism and my sports performance. It's like I don't want to get overwhelmed with climbing a hill. If I'm riding something or on a bike and I gotta go, don't get freaked out. Just be determined, stay calm, keep my heart rate, balanced and low, and see where I go. Right. The role then, again, specific state you wish to hold in each specific role, and then start to think about the purpose on the GPS system. Is purpose. So why is that state so important to me? What's the purpose that I want to be holding in my mind so that I can be grounded in the reason why I want to be that way? So, for example, I have anxiety, and so that center for me is to maintain calmness no matter what I'm doing. Because if I don't stay calm, then I lose my shit, basically, right? And I'm not as grounded, I'm not as centered. And so I really work towards that, right? So it's the reason the state is important to me, right? So why is it important to me that I'm loving or impatient or whatever? To let people know that I'm with them when I'm with them, right? So what is the purpose behind the state that you're trying to hold? Remember, a lot of times we talked on Friday, if you listen to the podcast that we held, the interview, they're talking about the reason behind your wanting to be mindful, right? What's the purpose? So this week is about really connecting to that purpose, connecting to you, connecting with these roles, and again, giving yourself permission to say, how can I be better? So with that, again, sample here, I wish to be calm and loving with my children, is so that they can feel safe and supported in my presence. So again, just take some time and reflect on, again, the why. As Nietzsche said, he who has a why can bear with almost anyhow, right? And then what can I do to shift my state? And these are a lot of the tools that we go in, the breath work, the movement, right? The things that we've been talking about in the present, start using those as your strategy. So that's the S in GPS. So this is about you setting your own compass. Again, you've been in your own driver's seat. You guys have been rocking it all week with the wall of wins, the actions that you're taking. And this is an opportunity for you to just jump in with both feet. And again, just become more and more intentional, but do it with grace, because again, we're struggling. Some of us, I know I am, and I have to really ground myself to be calm when I want to just, like I said, lose my shit at times. So I apologize for my French. So again, breath practice before walking in the door. Do my happy dance when I see my kids. If I'm coming home and my stress. I mean, if I do happy dance now because my daughter's 20, I would probably just make her embarrassed, but that's okay too, right? So that's what this week is about. And when we talk about the first week challenge, that's what we're shooting for, right? So I want to make sure that if you have any other questions, feel free to reach out. Again, totally blessed to be in this challenge with everybody. I know for me, last week, as hard as it was, this community and some of you I know and a lot of you I don't, has really been a huge boost in both myself and my wife, who's also going through it, and hearing those inspiration, putting a little light in an area of our lives where we've had some darkness. Okay? All right, guys, thank you, and keep up the great work. Bye.